Hey everybody, thank you for joining us for today's very special episode of Real Estate Disruptors. Today we got Max Jimenez, my business partner with Max Cash Offers, and we want to talk about how we're navigating today's trickier landscape.
Yes, sir. Has it gone trickier?
Just a tad more challenging. So if this is your first time tuning in, I am Steve Trang, founder of the Offer Fast Homes app, the only MLS for off-market wholesale properties. And I help entrepreneurs create businesses that support their family, lifestyle, and goals through mentorship. I'm on a mission to create 100 millionaires. If you want to join us on that mission, please send me a message on Instagram at steve.trang. If you're excited for today's show, please give me a wave, give me a thumbs up. And as a friendly reminder, I do not charge a dime for the show. I don't make any money doing this. So here's all I ask. This is what it costs for you to listen to this show. If you get value today, please tell a friend. Either share this episode right now, tag a friend below, or tell them your best takeaway from the show later on. That way we can all grow together. Now, this is a very special episode because I've been getting a lot of calls and messages from individuals and some big time players. And they're asking me what's going on, what steps to take in these uncertain times. So just let me be clear. I don't know for sure what's going to happen. I really don't. I don't think anyone can be as positive or super positive right now. And to say that everything's going to be great or awful, right? Trying to predict the future perfectly is at best careless and at worst dangerous. So I can't tell you exactly what a deal looks like right now. I can tell you what we're offering at, but 50% of ARV today could be retail, not too long in the future. So smart money is now hoping for the best and preparing for the worst. So we're gonna go over our strategies, what we're gonna do.
Well, I think to go piggyback off what you just said right now is if there's a lot of information out there right now, right? You see there's a lot of live, IG lives, a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of webinars and things like that. So it tends to seem to be overcrowded, and it tends to seem like a lot's coming at everybody, right, at once right now.
Right.
And one of the things that I would suggest as far as being careful is somebody that's saying that they know exactly what's happening, right? And what's going to happen. That's always a red flag for me because we don't know, right? I think you're right. We don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty, but you can navigate through this uncertainty, right? For your business, for it to be able to thrive and, for it to be able to succeed. But just make sure that be cautious of, those people that are experts and they say they know what's happening and what's going to happen. I think.
Exactly. So I want to talk about a couple different things that we're doing right now for our team and some of our students in our training program.
Right.
So you want to elaborate? You want to start off with what are we doing right now as far as offer range goes?
So right now we definitely lowered our percentage, right, on our ARV. Here in Phoenix, we used to start analyzing all our deals at 75% ARV. Now that's not a concrete percentage, right? Mm-hmm. That's where we would start analyzing our deals. Now we're going all the way down as far as 65, some areas 70%, but we've dropped that drastically over 10%, 12, even 15%, right? And it's still just to start analyzing the deals. In Tucson, we went 50% or lower. We're going very deep in Tucson, and we'll get a little bit into how we did that, and that was something from our buyers that were listening to them, but we'll get a little bit into that. But
so just to clarify, when we were talking about 75%, right, minus repairs,
correct.
That was our initial offer.
Correct, yeah.
But that wasn't necessarily like if we knew the neighborhood. Like, what were some of the things that we're looking at if we were willing to feel comfortable raising it?
So if we feel comfortable raising it from there, I mean, obviously we're looking at neighborhood for sure. Year of the property. So basically, is it a newer built home where you could pay a little bit more, right? And then also, the repair costs. Is it a full rehab, a gut job? Is it a lipstick, which is paint, carpet? So those are some of the variables that we were looking at. When we were doing the adjusting the ARV.
Right.
Because Phoenix is a very cookie cutter market, right? You can look in one neighborhood and you're able to tell, okay, if you put more than 30,000, you're screwed here, right? If you put less than 20,000, you're screwed here. So we're kind of blessed to have that here, where it's cookie cutter and you're able to determine, your most of your costs.
So last month, our initial offer was 75% minus repairs, and then if we knew the area could sell, we would go as high as like 82, because that's Phoenix.
Yeah, right.
Today
we are not going higher than 70%.
Yeah. And really, we're starting in the 50 to 60% range.
Yeah.
And then backing off a little.
Right.
So what are our guys doing to buy deeper?
So obviously, the one thing is right now what's happening is there's a lot of uncertainty, right? There's a lot of uncertainty in the market. So, guys like you and I, a lot of entrepreneurs, they understand. They don't know everything what's going on and what's going to happen, but they understand how the market trends and what goes on. Your typical homeowner, your everyday Joe, does not. Yeah. So you have to be able to relate your message to where they're uncertain about their jobs, they're uncertain about what's going to happen to their income, families and things like that. So as us being professional, our guys, what they're doing is that they're bringing up certainty when doing business with us, right? I think you guys hit this on yesterday on your call with Jesse, is that we're bringing in that certainty, but realizing and making them understand that because we're bringing them certainty, they have to also work with us as far as price goes, right? And that's kind of the difference of what we're doing more now is saying like, look, you have a lot of investors that are going to come. They're going to say they can offer you X, Y, and Z. And then you hit this yesterday, right? They got these clauses that lets them out, last minute, I'm not sure if I'm not sure if that bothers you or, I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah.
But, I'm not always going to be the highest, and I've never been the highest to pay, but people still sell to us. Why do you think that is?
Yeah.
And we let the homeowner tell us why, right?
Yeah. So I think the key thing is we're selling certainty.
Correct.
Right, and that's the cost. The price of certainty today is 40%.
Correct.
It used to be 25%. The price of certainty has definitely gone up. And so why is it so important for us, right? So the reason why it's so important to us to buy it deeper, because, you got to survive. And on this show, if you guys have been following, we've done over 100 episodes. One of the things we always said is, what are you going to do when the market slows down?
Yeah.
And fairly consistently, not always, but fairly consistently, it was, we're going to lower our offers.
Yeah.
That's today. So we're seeing this right now. With the flippers aren't willing to pay as much because of the uncertainty today. So there's a few things that are happening.
Yeah.
And we don't know for sure the price is going to go down or not. We just don't know.
Yeah.
But what we do know is that demand's probably going to drop a little bit.
Correct.
And so even if prices don't go down, hold time's going to increase.
Yeah.
So if you're pricing, typically the average interest rate's around 12% on average. That's varies in your market. So if it's 3 more months, that's 3 more points, 3 more percentage.
Yeah.
Right. And then borrowing costs have gone up. I got an email from Lending Home yesterday, and it was 90%.
Right.
LTV.
Yeah.
$500 application fee, and then 100% of the rehab.
Right. Yeah.
Now it's 80% LTV, a $4,000 application fee, and a one point origination.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. So now it's more expensive for the flipper. So holding costs went up. Now it's more expensive to borrow.
Yep.
They need to have more capital to borrow.
Right.
And they want to price in uncertainty.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I actually was reading some today that I can't remember who posted it or was talking about it, but there are some hard money lenders that are actually canceling some deals that are in escrow because they didn't put enough down payment. For the flippers didn't put enough down payment, or they're just going back and saying like, look, the only way we can do this deal is they're racing up. They need to put more capital or more skin in the game, basically.
Right.
I was listening to that this morning.
And perfect world, everyone has that extra 10% to put down, right?
Yeah,
90%
exactly.
LTV, 80% LTV now.
Right.
Hey, no big deal.
Yeah.
Let me just go to my bank account.
Right.
But that's not the reality.
It's not, especially for those that are doing more than 4 flips, 5 flips a month. That's if you have 4 in the pipeline or you have 4 in escrow and they come back and say, hey, you need to put down another 10% or 15%, whatever your lender is telling you, that can rack up pretty quick.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's an extra 40-50% of a house.
Correct.
So 50% of a house, if we're talking about average acquisition around here is around 150.
Right.
That's $75,000 you have to come out of pocket. So definitely the flippers are going to be a little bit more conservative on their offers.
Yep. So what do you think, and I don't know if you were going to get into this, or maybe I'm getting a little ahead, but what do you think we can do to combat that? I know you and I talked about this earlier today, right, with our buyers and stuff, we had a little bit of conversation. Did you want to go that route to kind of...
By talking to your buyers?
Yeah.
I think that's a great point. So as someone right now, what we're talking to our students and suggesting that they go do, go and talk to their buyers. Why don't you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so internally, I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday about this. Got on the phone with them. So what we've been doing this now for the past 2 weeks. We've been picking up the phone and
Ruben's
talking.
Been doing it.
Well, Ruben's been picking up the phones. Ruben, if you're watching, you're killing it, man. He's been picking up the phone and he's been calling our more consistent buyers. Right, we're talking about our big buyers. We're talking about those that have bought consistently, and we're just talking to them, see where their heads are at. See if they're still, in a position. Are they shifting? What are they doing exactly? So we're not so much allowing them to tell us how to run our business, but what we want to do is we want to tailor, based on what they're going through, right? Like this buyer, a month ago was buying 10 a month. Now they might be only buying 5 or 4 a month. And so if you're still email blasting, if you're still mass text blasting and you're not picking up the phone, I'm going to tell you right now that those buyers aren't looking at your emails and they're not looking at your text messages.
Yeah.
And so if you it's a must that you pick up the phone, talk to your buyers like, hey, what's going on in your business? I know that you were buying, some buyers that were buying, at $250 before repairs, maybe now are only buying at $200,000, minus repairs.
Yeah.
Or even $150. You don't know that until you pick up the phone. So if you keep sending those emails out, you keep sending those mass texts out, you're not going to get to know what shift your buyers are making, and you're not going to be able to sell those deals.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And I'm a very big fan of picking up the phone and calling somebody. Yeah. And I think just talking to your buyers, right? Understanding what they're going through. We were on Brad's sales call earlier today.
Yeah, right.
It's like just understanding their world. It's like, hey, how are things going? How's business? How's that affecting you? How's that affecting things at home, right?
Yeah.
It's just communicating and empathizing, building rapport. Same thing that we always do, but more important today because everyone else is texting and email blasting and not connecting with that buyer. Yeah,
and it's a good point. That's how we were able to shift so quick in Tucson with our ARV because we've already sold various properties to the same this big buyer that's there, and he's like, look, a week ago I would touch these deals. We had 3 deals that we send out like, hey, here's what we're working on. Where can you be on this? Mm-hmm. Like he goes, a week ago it was easy. I would have paid your price, but right now that's not a deal for me. So we take that into consideration because we know that he's a legitimate buyer or they're a legitimate buyer. Same thing in Phoenix, right? Mm-hmm. We have buyers that are doing the same exact thing. But again, if you do not shift to navigate these waters and pick up that phone and talk to your buyers personally, you're not going to know that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think another thing too in navigating this landscape is we're talking about buying it deeper. I think that's absolutely critical. If you're not buying it deeper, you're going to be out of business. Something I said a few days ago is I think at least half of the wholesalers are out of business. They just don't know it yet.
Correct.
I think that I'm fortunate, I'm blessed. I get to know a lot of the other investors that are big time players. And some of the flippers I'm talking about, like they're bragging because, the fact is like around 80-90% of them are gone.
Yeah.
Right. And so they're bragging in that for the last 3 years, they were the recipient, right, of it was the wholesaler selling it to the flipper. If you don't like it, too bad.
Yeah, right. We got another buyer.
Got another buyer. Today, it's the flipper is like, hey, you can sell it to me or you cannot sell it at all.
You're not going to sell it at all. Yeah.
Right. So now they can dictate, well, look, on this one, you're only going to make $3,000.
Right. Yeah.
It's a completely different relationship today, different dynamic today.
It definitely is. And I think what a comment I made earlier, like we're not reaching out to them and then running our business based on what they're telling us, but we're adjusting. Yeah. So that way we can go back when we're talking to the homeowners, we have that message already ingrained in our minds. When we're talking to them, if we don't get it at the price that we're needing to get it, we're not going to move these deals. Granted, right now, I think we're in a state of flux, right? Like a teeter-totter. We might miss those deals right now, but with the uncertainty, once it shifts, when the homeowners or the sellers start to realize like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to get that price, they're going to come back to you because obviously you educated them or you became that trusted advisor, kind of like what Brad was saying today. So that's why we reach out to the buyers, because then it allows us to come back and we look at the deal and right away we know, okay, this is not going to work.
Yeah. And I think one of the big keys here is, I've been not fortunate, but I got to experience the last drop, right? And what happens is when things begin to decline, and again, we don't know for sure it will, but when things begin to decline, the homeowner is not attached to what's going on today.
No.
They're attached to what was going on last month.
Correct. Yeah.
And they're just hoping that this thing will blow.
Yeah.
And then they'll still get that number, right?
Yeah.
So they got to be in a lot of pain. So just knowing right now when you're going in, you got to buy it deeper. And if you can't get it at your price, then don't buy it. Yeah. Don't contract it because now you're just going to be wasting your time.
Correct. And theirs too. So yeah, for sure.
Well, they're going to waste their time with some other wholesalers.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's talk about what are we doing? What is our team doing to buy deeper today?
So we're, again, going back, and I'm going to elaborate this on this point a lot, right? Is the certainty, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of what we are, we're talking about, like, look, because the feedback that we're getting for a lot of sellers is, hey, there's, this crazy in the world. Look at everything that's going on. How are you guys still buying? That's the question that we get a lot. Like, well, how are you guys still in business? So we acknowledge, right? We acknowledge the fear. We acknowledge the pain. But then we tell them, like, look, for us in Arizona, it's business as usual as of right now. We're still buying properties. We're still doing business. Unfortunately, with the uncertain times, we wouldn't be able to pay, the price that you're asking, or we tell them that, like, what you're asking is there's no way that we could pay that. But what I can tell you is that offer that we make you is an offer that you can depend on. Mm-hmm. And I know right now with everything that's uncertain, we're trying to provide you certainty, right? Right. Do you want a contract like Brad said today, right? Do you want the highest offer, or do you want the offer that's going to, or do you want the certain offer, or what is it?
You want the money to show up in your bank account.
You want the money that's going to show up in your bank account, right? Yeah. Not the one that's written on the contract. So, right. Yeah, we're having these hard conversations with the sellers. Yeah. And sometimes they don't like it, but honestly, it's better to get it on the open, and we get callbacks like, hey, you're right, and yeah. we get them to call us back because of that.
So let's do some role playing, right? Like right now, I'm the investor, right? You're the homeowner. Yeah. Okay, and you've got 5 other offers. Right. So here's what we do. Here's our conversation. Right. Hey, Max, given our conversation, it sounds like you got 5 other offers.
I do.
Okay. So doesn't sound like we're gonna be able to buy it. Okay. I can just tell you right now, we've never been the highest buyer. Okay. We buy a lot of houses, but we've never paid the highest. Right. So if you got 5 other offers, I think you should probably go with one of theirs because there's no way we can beat that offer.
Okay. Well, how much would you pay?
I don't even want it. It's not even worth sharing with you. So
we're that far apart.
I can guarantee you we can't beat any of the other offers.
Okay.
So you got 5 other offers. Oh, those 5 other offers, there's got to be one right now. Like if I didn't show up today, right, out of those 5, there's got to be one that for sure you would have gone with.
Right.
Which one would that have been?
I would say the guy that puts down non-refundable earnest money.
Non-refundable?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just pretend you said highest.
Okay, highest.
Right? Okay, so you're going to go with the highest offer. Right. That makes total sense. If I was in a position, I would go with the highest offer as well. So why don't you just go ahead and go sign with that one?
Okay.
All right. So sounds like this is over.
Mm-hmm.
I should leave.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So before I go, can I just ask you one question?
Sure.
So when you asked him, if you had any weird clauses in there about either it's the coronavirus or they can cancel in 30 days, 60, sometimes 90 days, these really long inspection periods.
Right.
When you asked him that question, what did he say?
Well, I didn't ask him that.
Oh, well, you know what? That's not unusual.
Mm-hmm.
When you looked at it, when you go look at it, if that was in there, how would you feel about that?
Well, I would feel very uncertain about it, the deal, because they can cancel.
Okay. So let's just pretend, you're working with this guy. Right. You sign that contract. Your bags are packed.
Right.
Your bags are packed. The boxes are in the truck. Right. You're ready to move.
Right.
And this guy calls you and says he has to cancel.
Yeah, that definitely wouldn't be a good feeling. I think I would try to kill somebody.
And I get that.
Right.
So knowing that, it sounds like going with the highest offer is no longer what's most important.
It's not. Yeah, I guess right. after talking to you and you breaking it down like that, it's not.
So it may be more important to you, potentially, I don't know, having an offer that for sure is 100% ironclad.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Yeah, especially after you broke that down. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, so then maybe we'll continue this conversation. So that's basically our conversation, right, on how to navigate, how to get a lower price, because you're going to be beating these guys. And look, I don't want to necessarily throw anybody under the bus, but if you guys have been to any of my presentations, we're very big fans of the scorched earth policy. Mm-hmm. We're putting landmines under the welcome mat, under the sofa cushions, and under the kitchen, under the chair at the kitchen table.
Right.
Right. If anyone's coming in after us, they're getting blown up. I'm sorry. Right. And so that's what we're using, because for the last week we're paying attention, and everyone's inserting what they call the Corona clause,
right?
Which is fine, right? If most people want to insert that, that's okay. That's the way they run their business.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do, or what we're gonna do, is zag when everyone is zigging.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's what we do. So you guys don't have to do that. That's just what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we had this. I actually had this conversation with Mario yesterday about, because there's a homeowner who was, I think we were like 40,000 apart or something like that where we want to be at, and we did the same thing. So he was supposed to call them back today and just kind of walk her through that, right? Like, hey, you know, you're asking price a little more than what we could pay, you know, and I appreciate you, you know, for allowing us to speak with you. But yeah, it sounds like I'm not going to be your buyer, you know. And what happens, I think, when you start the conversation like that, it creates curiosity, right? Like, okay, what's this guy talking about, right? And you push them, like, you know, what you were doing, like, hey, you might as well go with the highest offer, you know. And then they're like, well, what's your offer? Honestly, I'm going to be ashamed if I tell you I'm not going to be the highest. And if let's say you're not even, let's say your offer is going to be like 190 and they're like 240 or 230, you can say something like, my offer is not even going to have a 2 in front of it.
Yeah.
You know, what should we do?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, and I think it's really, really important that right now you guys get having those conversations, because you need to buy it right.
Correct.
Right. And you know what? Sometimes this doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, they might go with the other guy, and then they're going to call you back.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, right now, you know, for anyone that's listening and has ever had a seller, you know, go back to all your leads, had a seller say, I'm going to go with Open Door,
correct,
Zillow, OfferPad, Redfin, whatever, call them back right now, because those contracts are canceled.
Yeah. Should I tell them what we do when we call them back or no?
Yeah, please. Let's do it.
So here's a tip for you guys. So what we do for people in the past that have told us they're already working with somebody or they're already under contract. So we make a list of all those people, and then we call them back. And what we call them back for is not necessarily to ask them if they sold. So we take a 360 of that. Is we call them when they pick up the phone. Hey, Steve, it's Max. I'm just following through. We had spoken about maybe 2 weeks ago. Hey, Steve, I wanted to congratulate, or we say probably caught you at a bad time. That'd be the first question, right? No. What's going on, Max? Hey, I just wanted to call you, congratulate you on the sale of the property. You know, last time we spoke, you said you were working with somebody. I wanted to congratulate you on the sale. Oh, no, it didn't sell. Oh, it didn't. Tell me more about that.
Right.
So then, you know, especially with the iBuyers right now being out, that's a really great opportunity to do that.
Right. Don't go in there like, I heard Open Door canceled on you.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, I heard Zillow is no longer buying your house.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you know, I just want to wish you congratulations. You know.
Yep. And you know, and somebody that could be watching and be like, isn't that assuming? And you know, obviously we know that you can assume, but you have to do it out loud, right?
Right.
Yeah. So you're assuming that they sold. They told you 3 weeks ago that, you know, that they were already done. They were already working with somebody. They were already, you know, in escrow or whatever the case may be. All it does, and we've brought deals back to life from that, because you know, something went wrong, or you know, they fell out of escrow, or the buyer backed out, and it's worked really well. So it's a very good approach.
Right. And you hear like, you were right.
Yeah, you were right. I remember you told me, and it just brings those deals back. And I would recommend you guys out there that you have leads, or you have prospects that have told you that, you know, even within the last 30 days, start calling them all up and, you know, and congratulating them for the sale of the property. You'll be surprised.
You can have as much easier openings, uncomfortable openings.
Yeah.
But you're going to jump right into it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not the, hey, how you doing?
Nope.
Blah, blah, blah. None of that nonsense.
Yeah, exactly.
So Dave wants to know, you know, if we don't wholesale it, but you know it's a deal, do you close on it?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that we do. You know, we'll put non-refundable earnest. Now, look, can we close on every single one?
No.
If we contract it at 60% and we can't and we couldn't wholesale it, we're probably going to close on it, right? We've never just outright bailed on earnest money. We haven't done that yet.
No.
Is it a possibility? Yeah, it's a possibility, you know, but we're going to give them the earnest money, because we do $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. That was the check we posted yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, giving a seller $10,000 non-refundable earnest into their name. It wasn't even to title. It
wasn't even to title. It was directly to them.
We gave a homeowner $10,000 non-refundable earnest, because we're serious. When we tell them the price of certainty, this is the price of certainty.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to, you know, us contracting to buy, right? Like, you know, every deal that we contract we don't contract just to say, hey, I got a contract, you know, because at the end of the day, we still feel we have a responsibility to the homeowners. And it comes down to being skilled, right? You know, working on your sales skills, your negotiation skills. So that way you're able to buy them at a deeper discount, you know, and provide solutions.
Yeah. Apahando style, call it the Colombo close. So I haven't heard the Colombo close. It definitely is exactly like Colombo.
Yeah.
When I was learning these skills back in 2007, we called it the doorknob close. Put your hand on the doorknob. Oh, before I leave, I got one last question.
Yeah.
Right? Because their guard is completely down.
Correct.
Jeffrey Smith wants to know, response rate from marketing, has it stayed the same or has it dropped?
It's actually went up a little bit. We were low 2 weeks ago. We were hovering around 17%. We're above 20 right now, I think.
Yeah.
So it's you have to play around with your messages. I think the carriers have gotten really strict. So
smart.
Yeah, smart per se. Yeah, their finger. They know if you're sending the same message, even with only 4,000 or 5,000 messages, like your number is not gonna work. Yeah. So
I'm not saying we used to send 11,000 text messages a day, but we used to send a lot, and now it's a lot less.
Yeah. Yep.
But Jeffrey, our response rate has increased from it because, and I'm not saying it's because we've gotten any better,
right?
And we're not even increasing our spend.
Mm-mm.
Our response rate has increased because right now everyone's frozen. Not everyone, a handful of people. A percentage of our market is frozen.
Correct.
And that's the reason why our market has increased. So in fact, the students that we're talking to, we're telling them like you don't even have to 2x or even 10x, right?
No,
just
stay consistent.
Just keep doing what you've been doing, and you're gonna have more leads and more deals. Right.
Yep.
So. What other question was there? In the current market, are cash buyers ramping up to buy more? No, they are not ramping up to buy more. They're
getting strategic.
Yeah.
They're only buying certain deals, I think.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people are kind of like, let's just see what happens. Let's see how this plays out, which is an opportunity for us.
Yep.
Yeah. And then like Atima says, or Amita, there's a lot of people on the sidelines. So. Guys, keep asking your questions. Happy to answer it. Leo wants to know, what about our PPC? We don't do PPC. We raised the white flag in 2018 on PPC.
For PPC?
I always manage my own PPC campaign. I'm a big time nerd.
Yeah.
And when I started, it was $2 and change per click and $12 and change per lead. Yeah. I think when you started working with me, I was at like the 25, 30 per click, and by the time we folded up shop on that, when we gave up that hill, right, we were not gonna die on that hill. When we gave up that hill, we were $45 a click,
right,
and I think $400 a lead. It just didn't make sense for us anymore.
No, definitely.
And Mia wants to know what type of properties will be motivated sellers right now. So let's talk about that. Who are we targeting today?
So that's a really great question, and I'm surprised nobody's hit on this yet. I think just a couple of guys have hit on this a little bit, but nobody's really talking about this. So what we did is we looked at all our lists, and then what we did is we stacked all our lists, whether it's tax default, code violations, all the high criteria lists, whatever you want to call them. And what we did is we pulled every absentee out-of-state owner out of that. Yep. And so what we did is we shifted to market directly to them, the absentee out-of-state owners, because in essence right now with everything that's going on, your owner occupant is going to be a little more tough. Not saying that they don't need to sell at some point, but if you're reaching out to people that own a property here in Arizona that don't live in the state, the sense of insecurity, or not insecurity, but uncertainty is a lot higher, because now they own two properties. They own a property where they live at, whatever state they're in, and then they own a property here. So their financial situation might have changed. You don't know if they're going to keep up with the both property taxes, both property insurance, both, what else, repair cost, if they need to repair cost.
Well, especially the vacant ones, right? So right now they don't know what's going on. Correct. And when you don't know, you want to collect capital, buy gold, whatever. And so for us, we just took everything we were calling before, and then we fine-tuned it even more by stacking it. So we use batch leads to stack our list.
Right.
So we just took all the stuff that we had and just added out of state.
And what I will say about that is the conversations are a lot better, and they're more quality. They haven't turned into mass deals yet, but I got a feeling that that's what's going to happen here eventually. Because we don't know. Again, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how much it's going to drop. But I figure as we build rapport with, the more we can build rapport, the more that we have conversations, the tide's going to turn, and a lot of these are going to turn into deals for sure.
Yeah.
Because there's still some people holding on to that little bit of hope, right? Like, because they don't know what's going to happen either. So, but the conversation, the quality of conversations that we've seen has just been a 360. I mean, full 360 from owner occupant to them to the absentee out of state owners.
Yeah.
But it's not just absentee out of state owners. Remember, we stack our list completely. So we had about, I don't know, it was a huge list.
So Najir wants to know, are we referencing coronavirus at all in our text messages?
No, we don't say coronavirus, but
Yeah.
we definitely uncertainty. Look what's going on.
Yeah.
You know.
There's a lot of inferring, a lot of implying in our
Correct.
in our conversations, but
Yeah.
we're not outright calling out. That's like you don't call a pre-foreclosure like I saw you're going to foreclosure.
Correct. Yeah.
Or call a probate it's like I saw you need to sell,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we don't use it directly, but it's in the conversations. And then Kish Vlogs wants to know how many cold calls per one deal right now. I can tell you we don't know the exact number, but I can say for certain it's absolutely terrible. Because we were looking at our KPIs on Monday, and last week our VAs did 71,000
dials.
cold calls.
Yeah.
So it's not very good. That's all I know. But you know, as long as it's getting deals.
Yeah.
Okay, so was there anything else you wanted to add before we talk about some of the other things that we're doing?
No, I think we're pretty good on the conversation as
All
far
right.
as what we're talking about. You know, the list and the buyers and all that. So
Yeah, so I think the sales skills are really important today. Because you got to get them off as best you can. What they were attached to,
Yeah.
right? The old values, and maybe it's still the same values, but
Yeah.
we don't know what the value is going to be.
Yeah, and
We're
actually,
still attached to it.
yeah, they are. So I think going back to your comment, your sales skills got to be on point, because what you need to do while you're building rapport with the sellers is you need to put them from that position where they were at 2 weeks ago, a week ago, and put them future tense, right? Bring them into a future tense by sharing a third party story or sharing, you know, a story like, hey, listen, we understand that 2 weeks ago these prices made sense. You know, the market is shifting. There's a lot of uncertainty for us. We wouldn't be able to pay that because we don't know what's going to happen 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now. You know, what I could tell you is the offer that we make today, is going to be, it's going to be an offer that you can depend on no matter what happens 2 weeks from now.
Right.
But remember, we went from 75% ARV to 65%. So when we're telling them this, we've already dropped 15%. So
Yeah.
we're covering for that future drop, right? But
Absolutely.
it's still, but in their mind, they're thinking, okay, do I get a for sure offer today, or do I wait and that offer drops even more? So you got to move them from what they were thinking 2 or 3 weeks ago, move them to the future where if there is a drop, they have a for sure offer right now.
Yeah, and this isn't happening for sure.
Correct.
If you don't know how to have these conversations.
Right. Sure.
Which is something we train all our students on.
Yep.
If you guys are interested in that, send me a message about that later on. So let's just talk about the current events.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what we know. Okay, so iBuyers are on hold. Institutional hard money and fix and flip funding has slowed down quite a bit. Like we mentioned lending home earlier. So iBuyers came in, and now they're all on hold.
Yeah.
They're not out of business, but who knows what's going to happen,
For sure.
right? And then all the lending home came in after to complement the iBuyer model, or they saw that, hey, if Wall Street can flip,
Yeah.
then Wall Street can be your private money lender too. But now they're kind of freaking out about that. So
Yep.
there's that. There's the stock market went down over 30% in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It recovered a little bit yesterday,
Yeah.
so that's good.
Yeah,
But-
we're gonna be back in business by Easter.
Depending on who you believe,
I know.
right? And so, but that's the reality. So
Yeah.
we just don't know what's going on with there.
No, definitely.
And then there's also the fact that we don't even know if you will be able to close. Like, let's just say hypothetically you contracted property today.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even know if we're going to be able to close it in 7 days.
Yeah.
Like, we can perform,
Right.
but we don't know if the state's going to be open, if
Yeah.
the recorder's going to be open. Like, there's just kind of some weird,
There is
some craziness right now.
No, there is. And I think this is a little bit different, I guess, but there is going to be sellers that might want to sell. You can always extend escrows. You can always, if somebody wants to sell now, but they want to wait until see what happens, you can always contract it for 90-day close of escrow, 60-day close of escrow, just to.
There's no reason to stop.
Lock it up. Yeah, there's no reason to stop. Correct.
Right. Yeah, keep contracting it.
Yeah.
And then, so those are the negatives, right? And I don't want to get, really negative, but that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
On the positive side, the stimulus package looks like it's probably going to pass. Looks like. Interest rates are cut to zero.
Did it pass or no?
Well, the House needs to.
That's right. Yeah.
So, I'm sure whatever it is, Trump's going to rubber stamp it. So we got interest rates cut to zero. In fact, I saw this morning they're talking about negative, which
Jeez.
the United States has never done
Negative
interest rates. So
Wow.
that's kind of crazy. So we'll see where that goes. But at the end of the day, opportunities are showing themselves right now.
Yeah.
And in each way, because market
Right.
goes up, market goes down, we'll be ready for it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's going to happen no matter what.
Well, you have to be prepared. That's what I have to say. Like, you can't, if you're not prepared or be ready for whatever's coming, you're definitely not going to be able to navigate and survive. And going back to what you said about Wall Street, you know, a lot of people are taking a big hit. So a lot of people are pulling their money, whatever they have left.
Mhm.
So you got to get smart. You got to talk to people. There's still money out there, but now it's being, you know, your private money, right?
Yeah.
But unless you know how to talk to those people, it's a very different game, you know. You know, that way you can get lending from them, because they're going to be liquid for the most part. There's a lot of liquid people right now. The thing is, they're waiting.
And that was the Instagram live I did with Chris Nagel this weekend, right?
Yeah.
It was that money's on sale right now.
Yeah.
Because you just watched all the gains over 3.5 years in the stock market wiped out. So before, when you're offering the guy 5%, the guy's laughing in your face. You see what's happening in the stock market? Get out of here with your 5%. Today, 5% sounds really, really sexy. So money is on sale right now, but you have to know how to get that money.
Definitely.
So, you know, I was looking at what was the headline that in 3 days we gave back, you know, trillions of dollars that we had earned, the stock market has earned over that time. So with all that, you know, money disappearing in the stock market, where did it go? Who actually made money as a result of this? You know, we don't know for sure. And then Warren Buffett, I was writing this down earlier, Warren Buffett just bought $45 million in the Delta stock. So, you know, that's interesting, right?
That is interesting.
And then Blackstone, they bought tens of thousands of homes during the last downturn.
Wow.
And I was very fortunate. I got to, you know, I know a few of the guys that were involved in it.
Yeah.
Right. So they bought tens of thousands of homes. And I think this is something that if things get kind of hairy, you want to be prepared for that opportunity.
Correct.
So we got to be well positioned for it. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like we were saying earlier, if it's an up market, down market, we got to position ourselves to be ready for it. Right.
Correct.
And so some of the things we're doing is getting better funded.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure our infrastructure is right.
Yeah.
And right now, because of this weirdness, right, we're still doing deals. It's not as free flowing as it was a few weeks ago, right? But we're still doing deals. But right now, it's kind of a downtime. So it's a great time to reach out to people that have money, right? And they don't know what to do. And reach out to them, not with deals, but with like, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's how we're getting ourselves ready. Right. Like, and educating them on the market and what you're about to do, and then see if that's something that they're interested in.
Yeah, no, that's true. I agree with that. Like, because, you know, I was reading, I actually started reading a book like 2 weeks ago. It says Surviving in the Time of Crisis by Dr. Miles Monroe. It's a really good book. And so he talks about exactly what you just said. Right now, it's a downtime, but it's not time for Netflix and chill, right? It's time to, you know, develop your leadership skills. It's time to innovate. It's time to, you know, put your head down and get into a rhythm where, because these are the times where, like you're saying, you're either going to get crushed or you're going to come out of it. You know, one of the two, because it's so uncertain right now. So you have to maintain some type of level-headedness, right? And not to get too much to the panic and not to get too ahead of yourself. You have to, and it's a fine line to walk, you know. It definitely is. I struggle with it, but I try to keep myself busy. I mean, obviously you do as well, with books and learning and reading. Right now is not the time to put your head in the sand. And
you can't put your head in the sand. You gotta be like you know, like the way I like to picture it is like a receiver catching the ball in the middle of the field. Yeah. You gotta have your head on the swivel. You don't know where you're gonna get hit. You don't know where you're gonna get hit, but you have to be constantly surveying the landscape so that you know where the hit's coming from. And if you're not surveying the landscape, you're gonna get blindsided. And that sucks. So what we're doing, we want to make sure all our associates, people that work with us, people that trust us, people that are at our brokerage, that we have resources in place for them to, you know, make sure that they're able to come out of this on a better footing than they are today. So right now, you know, like we said, talk to your funders. Everyone is either buying your deals or funding your deals. Have a conversation. Have a real conversation. gloss over it. These are the difficult, uncomfortable conversations.
Yep.
You need to have today.
Come to Jesus conversation.
Right. And so what are the things that have gotten more expensive, right? So if you look at a lot of the hard money lenders, they're still in business, right? Like at least in the Phoenix market. And I've heard in Pennsylvania, my buddies in Pennsylvania, they pulled out completely.
Oh, are they?
In the Phoenix market, they're still pretty good. They're still around, right? But some of them are backed out, and you don't know which one that's going to be that you're using. So one of the things that happens with hard money, right? You got points and fees, higher interest rates, debt overhead. There's a limit to how long you can borrow, and if you hit past that limit, whether it's 6 months or a year, if you get past that point, you get to pay another origination fee, another processing fee, and it's credit score driven. So if you have a good private money lender, so we had one. She's not here anymore, but we had one. Out. I know, right? So it was no points, no payments, 100%. And no down payment. Yeah. And she funded the rehab, right?
How sweet is that?
And when I ever needed the money, it was just a few days before close. Like, hey, is that money? Like, I'm buying this house. Is that still good? And that's how good a relationship I had with a private money lender. But that's worked for us. Yeah. And for us, we just got to develop more of those.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? And everyone that's listening, if they want to navigate and be prepared, they've got to do the same thing as well.
Correct. No, makes sense. It's true. Because again, like, we didn't know that change was coming, right? We kind of figured. Again, this is why we said when we started, like, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what are the next things. And the same thing, we had a really nice private lender lined up, and one day or another, it's like, oh, hey, I'm not lending anymore.
Right, exactly. And Tommy Myers brings up a good point. Yeah. The virus has been around for not that long. Let's not act like it's 2008. And Tommy, you're absolutely right. It hasn't been around that long. So here are the things that I'm seeing, and maybe this is my fault for paying attention too much to what's going on, as far as the news goes. But I think that every day that goes by, I'm a little bit less optimistic. If you asked me 2 weeks ago, I said we're going to bounce back in 6 to 8 weeks and everything's going to be totally fine. Nothing's going to change.
Right.
I'm not as optimistic about that. I think we're looking maybe Q3, Q4, even possibly Q1 for us to recover in Phoenix.
Right.
But we have a good market.
Yeah, we do.
Right? The other parts of the country, not so good. We have. I was on a call Tuesday of last week that Carlos put together, and the guy said he knew 200 people that got laid off.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. That's in Ohio.
Right.
Where they've been a lot more aggressive with the virus. So, Tommy, you're absolutely right. Let's not overreact. And I'm not saying we need to overreact. I think we need to be prepared.
Yeah. So that's the comment we made earlier, right? Like, you can't put your hand in the sand. You can't panic too much. You just have to stay in that prepare mode for whatever's coming. I think in about talking about layoffs, my brother, his company just laid off like everybody I don't know if it was like 50 or 60 people where he was working at 2 days ago. So
I mean, there's more and more people getting laid off. And the thing is that regardless of where you stand on the virus, right? It doesn't matter where you stand.
Yeah, right.
What at the end of the day, there's been a human toll.
Correct.
On what's occurred.
Yep.
We don't know what's going to happen. Being on the brokerage side, I'm hearing about transactions where the buyers can't perform because they got laid off.
Yeah.
That's a ripple effect.
That is.
Right? So there's just things that are happening that has an impact. It's going to take a while for us to feel.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important to be prepared. So, and I had a conversation with another buddy of ours.
Right.
Big time player in the Phoenix market. And he said that one of his biggest regrets right now, today, or as of 2 days ago, so I talked to him 2 days ago, one of his biggest regrets was that he wasn't ready for this, right? Like, he's been crushing it, killing it, doing 20 deals a month, right? He's been killing it, but all the time that he's been doing really well, he wasn't creating relationships.
Oh, right.
So that when things turn, he's that first call. Now, there are other friends of ours who have been ready, right? They've been using someone that's wealthy, and that's Jesse on his interview yesterday, right? He still has his $2.5 million lender who said, what? I trust you guys. Do whatever you guys got to do.
Yep.
But I was talking to Jared about that, and I felt the same way. It's like, man, like this does suck. I wish we had done a better job.
No, definitely. Is that what do they call that? Secret mentor, right? That secret.
Well, the foresight. Right. And so what's been really fortunate. So Max and I, we position ourselves into a good situation. We're in different masterminds, and someone that had reached out to me, someone that I look up to. I don't know if he knew that, but he reached out.
No, you told me. Yeah,
right. But he reached out to me. He's like, look, I see what you're doing out there.
Yeah.
And I've only been through one of these. And I felt like I've been saying like for over a decade, I can't wait for the next one,
right.
Which I know sounds really horrible, but that's been my mindset for since 2008.
Yeah.
So I have someone who reached out to me. He's like, I've been through not just 2008.
Yeah, right.
I also made it through 2001. So he reached out to me. He's like, look, you don't need to have that one wealthy guy right now.
Yeah.
I can show you it's not too late,
right,
to get the funding, because just like flippers today and hard money lenders today and the wholesalers are all kind of anxious.
Correct. Yeah.
A lot of wealthy individuals just saw their stock
start wipe out.
Yeah. Right. So all those gains, now they're kind of like, what's going on as well?
Yeah. We need something to touch, something
tangible. So now is the time to find it. So
correct.
Like I said, I just talked to him the last few days. So during this lockdown, you have a captive audience. That group of people who are kind of anxious and nervous, that's the people that we need to talk to right now. So
yeah, makes sense.
I don't know how to do all this yet. He's mentoring me right now. So if you guys want to find out, you can go to disruptors.com/private money. I'll post this link here. I don't have all the information today. I don't. But we're going to be scheduling a call, and we're going to talk about it. Right? So he's going to share some of the steps for us to take. And then with that in hand, we're going to share those with everyone else.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, man. I think, again, there's opportunity out there, right? And, you know, it's all up to you. And I think I did a video like 2 weeks ago or something, or last week, I can't remember, about positioning yourself. And it was as three pillars, right? I think it was. So talking about, you know, having a strategy, having your resources, and then, you know, your network. There's a very three key things that, you know, you need to be able to dig into for the most part. Yeah,
and thank goodness that we've been able to have these relationships right, to play in our favor.
Correct.
So guys, again, disruptors.com/private money. I posted it in here. A question Ryan S is asking: what would you suggest for newbies starting in this environment? So I didn't touch on it on this one. I think if it were up to me, obviously starting 14 years ago is good, right? But I would rather start brand new today, than start brand new 12 to 18 months ago.
Right. No, definitely.
Because when everything's good, right, you can cover up a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Right. So the people that are started a year and a half ago, they've got employees.
Correct.
They got payroll. They got overhead.
Yeah.
They don't know what's not working well.
Right.
Because money's just coming in, right? The bank balance is growing every month. Everything's great.
Yeah.
But you don't know where you're hurting. You don't know where the mistakes are.
Right.
And this could be a really bad time for you. I'm not saying it will be.
Right.
But it could be. And it could be potentially fatal.
Right.
Right? But if you're starting brand new today, man, you don't have any... I won't say you don't have any adversity, because we all have the adversity we have today.
Right. Yeah.
But you don't have that additional adversity.
Yeah.
Overhead,
that's true.
Overcoming bad mistakes, overcoming bad hires, and so on.
Yeah, and the other thing too, just to add to that answer that you gave, it's a great time to start. You know, there's so many people giving back right now. You guys hit this yesterday, like it's unbelievable. I mean, left and right, you're looking at everybody, the whole community giving back. The problem is up to you how you want to take that information and run with it. And you know, one of the things that I always say is like, there's more people out there that want to help you than not, right? For the most part. And so with everything with all the information that's being put out, with all the help that's being put out, it's a great time to start. The thing is that it's up to you to how to sharpen your saw and how to take that information and apply it right away.
Absolutely, you got to take action. But the other thing I want to add to is right now, because it's something that Jesse and I talked about on yesterday's call, which he and I are on 180 degrees, completely disagree.
Right.
Because he doesn't think you need to pay for mentorship, because right now there's a lot of free information out there, and he's completely correct. Right. Like, one of the reasons why we have the podcast is there's a lot of free information here, and if you take action, you will be successful. Right. So he's right. You don't need to pay for mentorship. Correct. Right. But if you want to get there faster, of course. Because the biggest problem is timeliness of information. Right. Yeah. Like, if you have a question, which video do you go to?
No, that's true.
And which minute mark do you click on to get that information?
No, definitely.
Yeah. So having someone that resonates with you, lives the life that you want to live. Right. Someone that you want to emulate, either their business or personal life, ideally both. Yeah. Find someone like that, that's someone that you should definitely. I mean, we've talked about this. I've given Darren Hardy so much money, and it sounded like this morning that there's another thing coming out, and I can't wait to buy it. Mm-hmm. So, I firmly believe like you got to invest in yourself if you want to come out of this.
No, I agree definitely. I think it's true just because again you're saying what you're saying is very true. Like there's some things that you don't need coaching for, but that if you want to get there faster, or if you want to get there down the right path, or emulate, like you're saying, that person that you want to be like, you're gonna have to pay for that coaching. Exactly. So guys, I'm gonna wrap up the today's show. I wanted to just say that right now we really don't know when the next episode is gonna be. Unfortunately, our guests fly in. So today we had last Wednesday, our guest for today canceled, right? And so we just don't know what the upcoming schedules looks like. So we have something there, but we don't know when the next episode is going to be. That's the sad reality. So, guys, make sure you go in the Facebook group. It's the Real Estate Disruptors Facebook group. I'm pretty active in there in announcing our shows and so on. And again, if you guys want to get prepared financially for this upcoming, situation, who knows what's going to be? Could be great, could be awful. We don't know. Go to disruptors.com/private money. That's one word, and I'll see you guys there. Cool.
Thank you guys for watching.
See you guys.
That was awesome. Thank you for coming in.
That was good. Awesome.